And when you mentioned earlier about the main character for the movie, who was a really young teenage girl, like 13, 14,
Mhm.
and it says she was literally living on the street of her city before being cast into this movie. Now, is that true?
Yeah, we discovered Rachel Mwanza. We heard about her when there was a docu-fiction. I don't know if that's an English word, but it's like there was a docu-fiction about three kids in the Congo, and we had heard that this was really an amazing actress. And she wasn't actually, she wasn't a trained actress. She was somebody who was living off of the streets of the Congo, and living in the streets of the Congo is really different than living in the streets of Montreal. It's really
Right.
hard and for all sorts of reasons. Namely, your immune system has to be made of steel and all of that. So
Yeah.
Rachel is really an incarnation of how do you call it? Of I'm looking for the word. I sometimes I switch from French to English, but
You can say the
basically,
French word if you want.
I can't find the French word either. But basically, she's really a symbol of survival and
Yeah.
of keeping of staying alive and having that yearning to stay alive. I'm sure the word will pop up in my brain in
No,
a
no
few
worry.
seconds.
There's no rush.
But basically, yeah, she just has that strength in her that allowed her to live in the streets, and she had this fearlessness in her that I hope was conveyed on the screen.
And you said she didn't have any formal training in acting before that,
Yeah, she didn't have any formal training. We did have a coach that was
right?
on site with us and worked with her for a period of about a month. He worked with a good number of kids that were pre-selected to have a couple of roles in the film.
Now, that actually reminds me of Yalitza Aparicio, the main character who played in Alfonso Cuarón's Roma. Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I love that film. I love
Amazing.
it.
So, like her, she didn't have any formal training. I
That's
read that
true.
she was just, I think, a preschool teacher before the movie. And when I saw some, I didn't finish the movie. I'm so sorry, but I saw some clips. I saw Roma. I saw some Warwich, and you really get this level, like kind of like a spontaneity, like authenticity from people who actually don't have training, who aren't
True.
professional actors.
It's true. It's actually when you get one of these non-actor actors on set and they're facing actors who have been working doing auditions for years and years and have a role, and truth be told, there's not that many roles. It's hard to be an actor, and they're like kind of like analyzing their role, and they intellectualize what it should be and every single word, especially actors who don't have a lot of lines. They're
Yeah.
the ones who are the most insecure because they've rethought and reworked their lines. They're 20 lines for the last month. So they're expecting something and they go in it, and then there's this actress who like does funny faces right before I say action, and then she starts crying and being in the moment.
Right.
It's like it's really scary for an actor, and sometimes a moment I love to see that.
Now, was there so when you're putting with no training with a lot of trained actors, now was there any disconnect, or did everything function quite harmoniously in the end?
I guess there was, it's part of the process. There was some disconnect, but it's not different than with working with any actors. There's a point in time and during the set, during the filming of making of a film, that there's going to be disconnect. I mean,
Right.
I'm going to have a disconnect with my DP at a certain point, and that's what, in a way, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for kind of that creative friction that makes us make something better in the end. Hopefully, sometimes not, but most of the
Yeah.
times, I believe that the creative process is about a big part of it is about friction. And I find that this is something that I think worries me and a lot of people nowadays, is that just generally speaking, we're less and less looking to have that creative friction and finding a common ground, whether it's in politics or in everything. And I find that we become better human beings when we have opposing forces that kind of like try to find a common ground together.
Right. Now, by creative fiction, you mean that people who definitely don't share the same background, same ideas, and then this
Yeah,
kind
well,
of.
it can be, there can be like a huge range of disagreement, but it can also be like different points of view that are a little bit similar, but
Mhm.
not exactly the same. And you kind of bounce off of each other. and find your
Right.
way. And when actors have different energies, that's great because it's really, there's a dynamic thing going on. But it's also when you're discussing about how to do a film and
Yeah.
how to tell what angle to take on a scene. Also, it's fun when there's people that have like kind of a similar heading, but at the same time they have different angles on the specifics of it.